Welcome everybody to the General Microsoft 365 Development Special Interest Group, and it's the bi-weekly sync, October 29th, 2020. And let me move on slides. We will have a busy call again today, so quite a lot of slides to go through as a recap on the latest on what's happening. And then we have 3 different demos, hopefully, and we'll do a quick together mode picture in between as well. So I'm not going to take too much time on the intros. Now, quick recap on the slides. So please remember, if you are interested in getting visibility or getting a demo your solution or your experiences or explain what you learned and how and all of that stuff, all of those stories are super important for the rest of the community as well. So please reach out to me or any of the other PnP crew members, and we will get you scheduled on doing a demo in one of these calls. Contribute also on GitHub, and please provide feedback, and positive feedback is also always welcome. If something works, do let us know as well. If something isn't working, do let us know as well, so we can address that. I'm not going to spend too much time in here as well. We have a lot of assets and resources available. If you're not familiar with this, take a screenshot, and you can access all of those URLs later on. And if there's too many URLs, it's the AKMS M365 PnP, where you can access all of the SDKs, all of the documentation around Microsoft 365 developer platform. So super easy address and approachable site to remember. Now, one thing, kind of an update, which was actually released, I think, on Tuesday, if I get my dates right as well. So the new version of the Microsoft Teams Toolkit actually is live from 27th of October, so that's on Tuesday, and so which has actually quite a nice set of new fixes and changes in the tooling as well. So please check it out. If you had some issues related on this tool in the past, and most likely that issue has been now addressed. So really big update around the tooling in the Microsoft Teams Toolkit. And on the next one, we talked about contributing in GitHub, but if you are not familiar how to contribute in GitHub, please let David and Hugo explain how to get started. So David, I think you will do the quick slide.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Vesa. As everyone may or may not know, Patterns and Practices is a completely open source community, so we welcome all types of contributions. But we understand it can be a bit confusing and intimidating. So the Sharing is Caring initiative is here to provide you hands-on guidance sessions where together we a variety of ways in which you can contribute, as well as consume the different options. We know it has to start with consumption, and then you move into contributing. So we want to help everyone get more involved in the community. These events are completely free, as I mentioned, hands-on and open to ask any questions, safe space. We don't record them, and there are multiple dates and times available in November. We also going to start up our first ever multi-day workshop, not all day. It's going to be like a 1-hour session on a specific day and then across a few days. So be on the lookout for that. Super exciting, getting you set up with a number of the PnP repositories and tools. Feel free to join. We'd love to see you. Vesa, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, David, on that one. Now, quick recap on what we're doing on the PnP.NET library side of the house. And Bert, you are on the call to talk about this. So what's happening?
Yes, what's happening? So PnP.NET libraries, that means PnP Framework and PnP Core. And the other end, it also means the PnP Core SDK, which is the new library. So on the PnP Framework, PnP Core side, it's a bit of the usual business, essentially. We keep on getting PRs, great, really good, and we keep on merging them as well. So for now, we have a bit of extra work because we need to also port a PR from PnP Core to PnP Framework, because PnP Framework will be the one going forward. So at the image at the right side, you see that our roadmap, and you will see that by end of this calendar year, we'll actually stop PnP Core and move over to PnP Framework as the only library going forward. So that's kind of, if you create a PR for PnP Core, please, if possible, also create the same PR for PnP Framework there. That saves us some time. Now, I do know that, for example, Gotham Shed is helping with porting PRs. So if you're interested in helping out, there's different ways that you can kind of help there porting PRs with the testing PRs. On the PnP Core SDK side, real quick, so we did a massive internal refactoring of the PnP Core SDK. So it's for a developer now much simpler to kind of extend and contribute to it. So I think if you haven't done that, check it out. It's now really easy to start working on it. I think that's a big thing there.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Bert, for that one. Then let's jump on the PnP PowerShell. And Bert, I think you'll do a quick recap on this one as well.
Yeah, as well. Again, we have two PowerShells. We have the classic and then the cross-platform one, the new one. So the main activity was for the new cross-platform PowerShell, which, by the way, is available as an nightly build. So you can just always get the latest. Now, we did create a lot of new commandlets to align with SPO Management Shell. So what you can do with SPO Management Shell, you can more or less do the same with PnP PowerShell today. Plus, there is a whole set of new commandlets around Planner. So if you're interested in automating Planner tasks, then PnP PowerShell is there for you.
Excellent.
Yep, that's it.
And then let's jump to the modernization tooling. Quick recap on there as well.
That will be a real quick recap because nothing really happened. So I think the key thing to call out is that we have page transformation tech to modernize page, become modern pages. So if you need that, go check it out. And we have a modernization scanner that can detect classic assets in your environment. For example, workflow, because we will stop classic workflows by November 1st, which is really soon now. So
it's on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
It's on Sunday. I assume we'll stop on Monday, but it's happening right now. So
well, there's a funny story on that, but let's not actually go to that.
So you can still use the scanner to detect your workflows if you haven't done that. So and then on the pages, I think last time I mentioned, it was still on the slide, there's 1 million pages now modern pages, and we also have some actual usage statistics. So we see roughly around 100,000 page views a day on the modernized pages, which is not bad at all.
Really cool. Really cool. Yep. And then moving on things, let's go to the Geo teams. So Victor Villain couldn't actually join today, but last night or yesterday, there was a new version released on the Geo teams, which is now supporting the SDKs 1.7 and 1.8. So the updated and the latest version of the SDK. So the latest version will be is now 2.16, and that has the 1.8 support. 1.8 version of the Microsoft Teams SDK was released 20 days ago, so in the Ignite timeframe, and that is basically the latest which is available. On the horizon, well, there's a lot of bug fixes. There's a lot of actually pull requests and updates coming from multiple teams, from Microsoft and from a community side of these tools as well. The next one will be obviously 2.17, and there will be changes on there. And there's ongoing discussions on how do we integrate the Yo teams more efficiently together with Microsoft Teams Toolkit. Microsoft Teams Toolkit is the one which is coming from Microsoft Engineering, and Yo teams is the one which is the open source coming from the community. So just to differentiate these things. Microsoft Teams Toolkit is JavaScript based, and then Yo Teams is TypeScript based and Node.js based in the backend. So there's multiple tools available for you to take advantage. But good usage on this one and a steady usage across the board. Now, I think we have Beth on the call to talk about what's happening with the Microsoft Graph Toolkit.
Yes, thank you.
We're, by the way, amazingly on schedule. This is insane. So Beth, take your time, no rush.
So we have a new blog post out about the Microsoft Graph Toolkit V2 preview. If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. I will share the link after that I talk to this slide. A lot more, or a couple more community contributors. They are listed on the screen, and one of the contributors, Thomas, is Blazor samples for us using the Graph Toolkit. So on the lookout for that if you're interested in using Blazor with the toolkit. You can help us by checking out the good first issue or help wanted tag. And then we also need your feedback on something. On the right side, the orange block has all the links and actions. So here's a new component that we need your feedback on. Please give us feedback on issue 703, 704, 705. We wanted to introduce a new component that's on that's about files from your OneDrive. So go check it out and let us know what you think. And your opinions matter very much to us, and we'll get this one out as soon as we hear from our community. Cool.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth, on that one. And please take advantage of these tools. These are really cool. And they do, like mentioned so many times, they do welcome contributions. So fully open source project as well. So if you have time and interest, do get involved on this one as well. Now, on the Microsoft Teams samples, so we are building a gallery for Microsoft Teams samples. This is really intended to have one location where anybody who's looking into getting started on Microsoft Teams development can go and find Microsoft Teams app templates, samples from the Microsoft, and samples also from the community. And the latest sample there actually was merged earlier today from Rabia Williams. Rabia is nowadays cloud advocate for Microsoft, and that was really around implementing GIP search messaging extension. So kind of how would you implement this kind of an experience natively? Obviously, Teams has already a GIF extension, but this is basically showing how it could be also implemented. So really, really cool as well. But like mentioned, if you're building Microsoft Teams samples, please submit them to this location and this repo so we can acknowledge your contributions. We can acknowledge you in the monthly messaging, and we want to promote your contributions to the open source as well. So please get involved. And now let's do a quick group photo for those who are willing to actually do a video on. So everybody was clearly waiting. Everybody was just clicking immediately video on. So this is really good. Let me actually, now I messed up my screen. Let me do that one more time. And move everybody to get a mode so I can actually show what are we taking. So you can actually see the picture. This is actually pretty cool. I did so more people. Yeah, this is expanding. This is really, really cool. I think they will add more and more support for different people all the time. So let's wave everybody. I will take few screenshots. A lot of familiar faces. This is really cool. So even though we cannot see each other in the conferences, we can actually see the familiar faces this way. So thank you everybody for this one. Really, really cool. Good. That was it. Thank you. Let's get back on the demo slides. Hopefully you were able to get there. I think the first person doing the live demo is Kiran Thomas from the Microsoft Teams app templates team. And we continue our Microsoft Teams app template coverage, which is really, really cool. Kiran, are we ready to go?
Hey, Vesa. Hello, everyone. Looking forward to sharing this app template with you. I'll start off with a few slides and we'll jump into a demo. So thank you, Vesa. I'm Kiran Thomas. I'm a product manager working on Teams. And today I'm going to be giving you a demo of the contact group lookup app template. First, a little reminder about what app templates are, even though I'm sure you're all familiar with it. These are plug-and-play production-ready apps that we build and post on GitHub that allows anyone to pick them up, learn about different components of how an app works, and use as is within Teams. So I like showing this graph on the right because it kind of shows you where app templates sit in terms of starting from scratch to build your own Teams app versus using something that's already existing within the store. So it's at the sweet spot that allows you to quickly realize value and also continue customizing it. So you can take any of these app templates, customize a name, branding, change the functionality, and so on. And we build this to be secure, configurable, and extensible. So it's a good example code for you to start off from. And to reiterate, there's no additional coding required if you don't want to. If you don't want to customize anything, you can use it as it is. Most of our customers end up changing the name, logo, and things like that. And we build it with privacy and security in mind. So today we're going to be talking about an app template called the contact group lookup. So a lot of our customers have this issue that when you move onto Teams, there's always a lot of interactions that occur between users of a contact group. So contact groups, if you're not aware of the name, is a new name for distribution lists. It's the same thing. It's just a list of contacts that you create on Outlook that you use to either email or get in touch with. So this could be by organization, by team function, things like that. And once you have this contact group, a lot of times you want to see chat with a particular person, have a meeting, so on. And that's what this app really allows you to do. It brings together a very simple view of your contact group list and helps you get in touch with members of that. And we'll be seeing that. So before we jump into the demo, I just wanted to set up what the scenario would be. So let's pretend that we're part of a healthcare organization that uses Teams to manage an on-call member list. So just to explain what on-call would mean is we have members of the organization who are standing by to help out with emergencies or whenever there's a busy schedule. And you'd like to get in touch with them, but then if you have a list of on-call people, you want to start with the people who are already available or ready to go. So that's the scenario that we have here. So let's switch over. And so the first thing that the organization would want to do is to go to our app templates page, find our contact group lookup template. As you can see, we have a list of over 34, I think right now, app templates, and contact group lookup is one of those. If I find it, I can see a little explanation about it, see some screenshots. If I click the Get It on GitHub button, it'll take me right on GitHub. Then the home page, you can see we have a detailed README with all documentation about how to deploy it, how it was built, if you want to customize it, and so on. And let's jump into the documentation to take a quick look there. And what I would then do is go to the deployment guide and slowly, step by step, walk through this and deploy it. And it gives you a good idea about what you need to get ready before you go through this deployment. So in this case, you'd have to have an Azure subscription that you have access to. And you may also have to change some things on the admin side to make sure you have access to the person who has admin rights to the Office subscription. So to save time, let's pretend I went through all of this and I've got my app set up in Teams. So once I've loaded it into Teams, it'll show kind of be like this, and I've pinned it onto the left rail as well. So when I click into it, this is the default view that loads up. So very simple app. Over here, we don't have any contact groups loaded in here, so that's why you see this welcome screen. So let's go ahead and first create a contact group and then use that to load into here. So to do that, I'm going to go to Outlook. And once I get to Outlook, at the bottom, there's the People tab. Click on that, and it'll take you to the People Management. And I'm going to create a new group here. So let's pretend this is the on-call group for, let's say it's monthly basis. So let's just say it's for November. Oops. And then I'm going to skip the thing, and let's just say it's going to be public. Anyone with an organization can see it. And yeah, that's it. And then I'll create it. Then I'm going to add a few members. I'm just going to add one of myself. Then I'm going to add another user. Chris looks good. Ta-da. My contact group is now ready. So going forward, if I want to manage or add members remote, I can do it directly from here. Now let's go back here to our Teams environment and add this contact group into our app. So since I don't have anything here, let's search for on-call and see what comes up. There we go. The new one we created is also here. The old one that I created earlier as well. Let's go with the new one and add that. There we go. So now you can see it's showing up. The default view when you open up contact group lookup for myself will now show this list over here. And what it has the name of the contact group, what the email address is if I want to send an email to this group, how many members are part of it, and also shows me how many members are online. Let's just try and add another one, the one that I added earlier, just to show you what it looks like. And if I do that, it should add that as well. Great. Now I can also pin this to the top. Say you have these added in here. You just want to have a few favorites up top. You can pin it. And then let's go into one of these, see what's in there. And here is where you can, it's a very simple view. You have this list of all the members who are part of it. You have their email addresses, if you want to email them. And the key part over here is I can see their presence within Teams in one clean list. And over here, I can see Chris is offline. My other account is offline as well, and this is myself. I'm online. And by clicking here, I can directly chat with any of these members. Or if I say want to chat with one or more people, I can use the select box to start a group chat. So let's pretend I want to get one of these on-call folks to come into the say medical center. I can do that and start a chat directly, or I can even do a meeting or start a call, any of those things. So that's essentially the entire functionality of the app. As you can imagine, you can use this for many different scenarios. It's not restricted to healthcare or anything like that. It's very common that we maintain a lot of these contact groups through Outlook, and so we like to surface them on Teams, get in touch with them, collaborate with them, and so that's what this app is great for. And last but not the least, going back to our guide, if you have any more questions about it, feel free to look at the all the documentation that we have available online. You can customize the app, add new features to it, learn about how the architecture is built, look at the architecture diagram and learn about that. And we have a cost and estimate page that will cover a brief estimate of how much it'll cost every month and other things that you can do. Other questions or issues, please feel free to post it on the issues tab. And that really sums up my demo. I would love to hear if you have any questions in the chat, but I'll keep an eye on that. But otherwise, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kiran, on that one. Really, really cool stuff. And like Luis already commented as well, these are super, super useful app templates because they actually show how to build real world scenarios and products for Microsoft Teams. And like mentioned many times, you can pull them down, you can modify them, you can potentially do adjustments, repackage them, and publish as your own. It is all open source, MIT license for everybody to take advantage any way we need it. So really, really cool stuff. Now, we are amazingly ahead of schedule, which is great. If we'll have time for Q&A in the end, that's absolutely fine as well. But Kislay is next on the line, and we're going to have a look on the Employee Onboarding Hub in the Lookbook site. So last time, in this bi-weekly community call, we had a demo related on employee onboarding Microsoft Teams app template, which does actually relate on this template, which is also available in the Microsoft Lookbook site. And Kislay is going to walk through that one. Just that one, there is an ongoing internal discussions related on how do we do more automated, let's say, a solution packaging and deployment, so we can actually do kind of a Microsoft Teams app template together with the site, the template which is available in the Lookbook. Let's see if we can actually make all of that automated in the future. But for now, Kislay, the stage is yours. We can see the screen. Take it away.
Yep. Thank you. And as I said, the demo is about the new Employee Onboarding Hub template in from SharePoint Lookbook. First, what it is, it's a template, it creates basically 4 sites. And as the name suggests, it is for onboarding new employees before they join and after they join also. Lookbook provides inspiration to users, organizations to create beautiful internet design starting point with different set of templates. There are a bunch of templates available on Lookbook, which you should have a look if you have not till now. And why you should, firstly, why create the wheel again? So portal, which developers might take few months to create, is now easily available at free of cost. So it's very good templates, very well built, and you can easily access them. It might not suffice all your needs, but the requirements, all your requirements, but it's a great starting point, I would say. And as you know, that employee onboarding is a critical process, so I think it's a good idea to have it if you don't have an onboarding process online, and if you're already doing it in papers or something else. How? So basically, there is a user interface on the Lookbook site of Microsoft, where you can actually pick that in template and then install it. Otherwise, you can also use PowerShell if you are a tenant admin. There is the source code is available there, and you can just use the connect PnP online and connect to your tenant, and then use the apply PnP template from the path actually. So, and what you get is the 4-site collections. So I can show you a video with the PowerShell thing. So you can see that I have connected to the PnP online and then just use the command, and then it will do all the processing. Yeah, and at the end you will get. So at the end, you will get 4 different sites, So let's go back to the slides now. So now I will do a demo of all the 4 site collections on actual sites. So you can see that. So this is the onboarding page, and you can see all the navigation are there on the top and also here. And if you go to different pages, it will have different, messaging things which you can have a look. And you can also, of course, the point of having all this set is that you update it according to your needs. Basically, you need to update all the contacts or the checklist, which is here also, which is a list in the background, which can be edited. So this is how all the pages are created. You can see that if we go to the site contents, you see we have the new hire checklist, new hire questionnaire, which is not used, but you can see in the site pages, we have a bunch of pages created, which are actually tagged in all these menu items. So we have a pre-onboarding site similar to this, which can be used for the employees who have not joined yet, and where you can see the message from CEO. This is another page created by default, and you need to update it with your video, of course, and all the things which you want to have. So similarly, we have different, different pages of leadership team, our values. So basically, you can imagine this is a typical, onboarding process where you need to tell a new employee what it is, what kind of a company we are, what are our values and all. There are 2 sample departmental onboarding sites also, like one of them is engineering. So you can see that we have this here, similar to what we have seen before, and just jumpstart onboarding, workplace setup, deployment cycle, SPO backend knowledge, and all. So all these are customizable, which you can do on your own. So there are links available in the sites also, which shows how and what to do also. So let's go back to the slides a bit now. So if you want to extend the templates, you can do that actually. Basically, as I said, the source code is available. So what I did also for a test is that I did a small change and I added extra navigation on the pre-boarding side. It was not so difficult. You just need to update the XML file, which is there in the source code, and the rest will be taken care if you just create a new PnP file and then apply PnP template command, So let's have a quick look on the source code here also. So this is in the Visual Studio Code, and you can see that I have opened the new .xml file, in which you can see that we have different sets of things already listed. So we have the navigations, created here, themes. So you can see that we have themes here also, and similar to that, we have the global navigation structure, current navigation structure. Similar to that, you can they have added all the site assets like the images they are using, where it is located, and all the links and the PnP properties are added like this. So imagine that you want to replace this with your images, and with you can just change this XML file with that, and then it should work. As I said, I added a navigation link on our own, and it worked. So it is not that difficult to do. So I'm not going to go in much detail. The structure is very simple. The site assets have the different folders for site pages, and each page has its own folder and the image file. So you can follow the same structure and add different URLs or different images for yourself also. Okay. The SharePoint lookbook provisioning service source code is also available. I'm not going to go deep in this. I just want to mention that the provisioning service source code is also there. And Paul Pelos, it took a very good session in PnP virtual conference, which you should have a look if you haven't. That's talked about the architecture of custom Microsoft 365 solutions. in which he has explained the SharePoint lookbook provisioning service architecture. And it was quite interesting for me to understand how it internally works, which gives us a very good, understanding for us to create different architectures, if you are going to create something similar to that, or maybe a provisioning service for your own company. So that's a good thing to have. References, as I said, we have the template source code available, lookbook provisioning service source code also. Details of, as I said in the slide, it is there. Customizing instructions. So there are instructions how to customize the site. The Neo page, as I mentioned, and I have also written a blog about this, which you can actually go and have a look also. Thanks for joining me in today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kislay. Now we are so much ahead of the time. Let me actually share my screen. I'm going to do ad hoc demo related on the loop notes related on the lookbook side, which Kislay also talked about. We're doing some changes in some of these templates, and if you followed up on Ignite announcements, there will be native out-of-the-box templates pretty soon as well. So Melissa Torres, who's been visiting every now and then in our community call to talk about the latest on templates, is leading the work on the out-of-the-box templates. So right now, if you go to the lookbook.microsoft.com, just to recap on what this is all about, we have a different set of templates available, and then you can go to a specific template, like let's say the leadership connection is a good example, and see that what we would be getting. It has a requirement of being a tenant administrator for now. I'll talk about that one in a second, but then you can click add to your tenant, and if you're a tenant administrator, you can consent the needed permissions, and then we can auto provision this site to be available within your tenant, which is super cool. And this is, by the way, how our demo tenants are being built as an example in Microsoft. So to have example content and structures for customer demos and pre-sales work and all of that stuff. So really, really cool stuff. Now, what's going to happen pretty soon is that I'm going to go back on the lookbook, is that whenever we get the native out-of-the-box templates available, first to the preview, we'll keep some of this stuff still available. So there will be a native leadership connection template, which is going to be based on site scripts and site templates natively in SharePoint. There's going to be I think the perspective, benefits, and a few other ones natively within the product as well. But we will keep also these PnP provisioning templates available in here, because they are more, let's say, how would I put it, at least in a stage one, when the native capabilities will be there, these will be more complete, and this will be more, they have more content and example demo for your demos as well. And then at some point, whenever the native capabilities will catch up, we'll start chopping templates in here. But then at the same time, as an example, the Neo, which is Employee Onboarding Hub, we will not actually have this kind of a solution as such, as a complete solution in the product. So that means that this kind of a complete solutions will keep on being in the lookbook, and then you can provision them with a sufficient level of permissions. Now, on the Neo case, one of the challenges what we keep on having as a feedback, just to pinpoint that as well, is that a lot of the MVPs and community members have been asking that, okay, this is really cool. We have an onboarding hub. Then we have a pre-onboarding, sales, and engineering. What if I would want to have one or more of these and modify that based on my organizational structure? Right now, currently, this is not possible. So what we just had a meeting yesterday with the people who are owning this template is that we're actually going to split this Neo template to 4 or 3 different individual templates, so that you can more efficiently then provision sites with an example content, and then you can manually associate them to the hub. So you can actually then build more complex onboarding hubs with the pre-onboarding sites and a separate set of organizations, which will then give you more flexibility. And that's going to happen within upcoming weeks or so. Then at the same time as we're doing that, which is actually pretty cool, is that we will actually change all of those templates not to require tenant administrator permissions. So all of the individual templates, which will be that one, which will be released as individual things, will be available for a normal end user through the lookbook sites. So they do not require any more a tenant administrator permissions. So we're working on that one as well as part of this transition, which is pretty cool. So making it super flexible, or as flexible as possible for end users to create example content, example structures to your tenant as long as they're site collection administrator, and then in your tenant, end users are allowed to just consent applications with their permissions. So that's basically the requirement. But that's coming within upcoming weeks. Technically already today, I don't want to steal too much time from Leon, but there are a few templates like in the school site, the staff and class templates. These actually are working for a site owner, but we haven't been super vocal on this. So because these have been targeted only for EDU scenarios. So now we are then starting to extend the site owner, the lower permission requirements also for the other templates, now that we're able to make that happen. So really cool stuff as well. But please take advantage of this. This is really intended to be for you as a demo content structure for your own organization or for pre-sales consumption or usage. Whenever I started personally in SharePoint in 2006, I would have loved to have this kind of a demo sites and demo structures available for pre-sales purposes when I was still a consultant. So because that's really the key value of this. And then starting from the early next year, you can natively surface any of these portals directly in Microsoft Teams using the company portal embedding capabilities, which will be further enhanced, not just embedding at any SharePoint site, but there will be actually more deep link support. There will be additional support on the Microsoft Teams exposure as well. So really cool stuff in the pipeline. Cool. I'm not going to take more time. Sorry, Leon, for taking some of your time, but I just, because since we did have some extra time, wanted to provide additional context on top of Kislay's demo. But Leon, I think you are on the call.
So welcome to my presentation today on creating a live London Underground status board using SharePoint view formatting and Power Automate. A little about me. My name is Leon Armston, and I'm a Microsoft 365 Solutions Consultant at Intelligy in London in the United Kingdom. You can find details below on how you can connect with me. You can check out my blog, leonarmston.com, or find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or GitHub. I will now outline the problem I wish to solve. I wanted to create a full end-to-end solution to display live London Underground line statuses on a SharePoint intranet. As you can imagine, employees in many organizations in London would benefit from having a live London Underground line status board on their SharePoint intranet. Employees can quickly see before they leave work for home if there are any delays on the London Underground. Below is a bit of background regarding the London Underground. It's the underground transportation system for London. It's known informally as the Tube, and it was first opened in 1843. I will use these diagrams to explain the solution. My solution, which consists of 2 template Power Automate flows, is very quick to install and would take less than 15 minutes to install and configure on your intranet. So we have Power Automate flow. This is run one time only, and it deploys the customized Tube status SharePoint list, including all the fields, views, and view formatting required for this solution. And then we have Power Automate Flow 2, which does the heavy lifting. It runs on a scheduled basis, currently every 15 minutes, and this connects to the London Underground line status API, and then updates the Tube status list if there are any changes, i.e. delays on the line. SharePoint list view formatting is used to create an interactive live application using the out-of-the-box list web part style to look like a London Underground status board. You can see a little sneak preview of my view formatting for the line status board in SharePoint there. There's no development required, i.e. creating an SPFX web part, and then that would typically require advanced permissions to install. I will now demo my solution for you. So in front of me is the Transport for London Tube line status page. We can see the Tube status board here. We can see that each individual line has its own color. We can see the status, and we can see if there's a special status that it's interactive, that we can click on the status, see if there's any closures, what the delay is. So yeah, I wanted to replicate that on people's intranet. So all of the information we've just seen is available via a web endpoint by the Transport for London organization. So it's published in JSON format, so we can see all of this JSON format is information about the lines. So if we just briefly go through this, we can see that the first line is the Bakerloo line. We can see it's a tube. And then we can also see that it's got good service at the moment. All of the other lines are listed within this JSON tag. So what I wanted to do was get this JSON text, sort it, and then put it into a SharePoint list. But first, I needed to deploy a SharePoint list, and I wanted to make this solution easy for people to install. So I created a Power Automate flow, or do you call it Power Automate flow, or just flow? Who knows? But anyway, this deploys the list to a site of your choice and then uses REST API to add the fields and views and apply the view formatting. So you can see that it's manually triggered. We changed this URL to be the URL that you wish to deploy the list onto. And then we can also see here is the view formatting that is applied to transform the SharePoint list view into the tube status web part. We'll go into that further when we demonstrate it on SharePoint, but I just wanted to show it you there because we'll be applying it when we set the default view to the SharePoint list. So these are all REST queries. So this REST query in Power Automate creates the SharePoint list. It then renames the list. It adds columns to the list. So all the columns we need for this solution, it then adds the columns to views. And then finally, yes, applies a view formatting and creates other views. So that, yeah, deploys your infrastructure. Then the second flow is what I mentioned. It does the heavy lifting. So this runs on a scheduled basis every 15 minutes, connects to the Transport for London Tube Status API, and then sorts the JSON, and then if there's any changes, it will update the SharePoint list. So I'll just go into edit details for this flow, and we can see that it recurs every 15 minutes. It connects to the SharePoint list that we just deployed. And then we can see that it has a HTTP action, which connects to the URL that we just saw in this tab here. So this is all of the JSON. So we'll go back to the flow. So when this is run, this HTTP action returns all of the JSON that we just saw in the previous page. And then it parses the JSON, and then it iterates through each line. There are currently 15 lines on the London Underground. So here is a bit of string manipulation and formulating combining all the line names, reasons, all for the text required. And then there is a check here. So if there's any changes, it updates the SharePoint list. If there's not any changes, then it won't update the SharePoint list. So this is now updated. So in summary, this connects to the API every 15 minutes, sorts the results, and updates the SharePoint list if there's any changes. So now we can see the SharePoint list with all of our data. It looks not very user intuitive, not very friendly. and yeah, it's not easy for employees to quickly identify their line and whether there's any delays. So I wanted to use view formatting to style this to make it look like a tube status board. So we'll now change the view to the view with view formatting. And ta-da, as if by magic, the SharePoint list is now styled to look like a tube status board. And we can see that it's interactive. We can click on all of the special statuses and see information about the delays. So now I'm going to go through how the view formatting JSON is put all together. So we'll go into and format the current view, and then we'll see the JSON. And then we can see that there's 133 lines of JSON that transforms the SharePoint list into the tube status list that is styled on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to go through this and show you how it's all put together. So the first element is a div. And this div is the master container. So this is on the left-hand side, this is where all of these colored cells and line names and statuses sit. They sit as children elements within the master div, the master container. So I'm just going to minimize all of the children elements, of which there are 4, and then we will go through each one individually to show how it's put together. So we can see it has 4 children elements, and then we can see that the first child element is a div. And this is the colorful background for each line and the line name. So it's all of these boxes on the left-hand side. So we can see the class has like an if statement, and yeah, depending on the line ID, it will set the color to be black or white, the font color. Then we can also see the background color. There's a big if statement, so each individual line can have its own color. So the Bakerloo line is a brown, the central line is a red color, and then we can also see this TXT. This displays the line name, so that displays Bakerloo Central District, for example. So I'll just minimize this and move on to the next element. So this again is a div, but what's special about this is in the style there is a display. So this has an if statement. So if the line status equals good service, then we display the div. If not, then it's hidden. So these are the white good service boxes here. So we can see the background color white, and we can also see the TXT content, so that displays the good service there. So now we'll move on to the third element. So the third element is again a div, and it's conditional on line status not equaling good service. So that's a special status. So that's these yellow boxes up here that say severe delays, pot closure, planned closure. So we can see that it has a background color of yellow, and then if we scroll down, we can see that it also has the attributes icon name. So that's this plus symbol here. So that uses the Fluent UI library. So we just put in the name of the Fluent UI icon that we want to add. In my case, it was a plus symbol, so that was called add. So finally, moving on to the last child element, it is again a div, but this is what's special about my solution is to make it interactive, it has hover cards. So this has a display, So this div is only displayed if it's a special status, so not equaling good service. And then it uses this custom card props for the hover card. So we can see the hover card there. It has a open on events click, so it opens when we click on the div, and then it has a directional hint of bottom center, so we can see that the pop-out is on the bottom. And then there is some text transformation, so it adds spaces if there's multiple reasons, and yeah, that's all the view formatting. So as we can see, view formatting is very powerful. We can change back to the view and see it as boring, go back and see it as exciting, and you could slot this onto your intranet on the right-hand side, and users could see the line status. You may not be based in London, but I'm sure there's lots of other freely available APIs you could use for transport. So I'll now return back to my presentation. So to recap, this solution uses Power Automate for the quick deployment of the SharePoint list, for the retrieval and processing of the latest line statuses using the freely available Transport for London line status API. Then SharePoint list view formatting is used for the UI to make an interactive live application using the out-of-the-box list web part in modern SharePoint. I found this a great gateway project to learn in more detail SharePoint view formatting, and it opened my eyes into what is possible with SharePoint view formatting. It also gave me ideas for solving many other problems by creating interactive live applications like this. Thank you for your time today and for watching my presentation. Below are some related links, my blog, leonarmston.com, and a direct link to the blog post for this solution with further details and detailed installation instructions. My GitHub repo, where you can download the template Power Automate files and view the JSON formatting. You can download the files today and install on your intranet directly from there. Then finally, links to the PnP SharePoint Dev list formatting community submitted samples, which are in GitHub. And there are many samples that you can use to show the capabilities of SharePoint list formatting. I use these to learn about many of the advanced list formatting functionality in my solution. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions regarding the solution. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Leon. Thanks, Leon. I will ask, don't stop sharing yet. Just a 1 minute quick discussion. There was a really good set of questions from Louis Fries related on the solution. And the question, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but now, what about using Azure Logic App? So what made you the decision? What was the decision-making, let's say, aspect for choosing to use Power Automate rather than Azure Logic App?
No, I have started to do it in Azure Logic Apps. So I've nearly finished the solution. I think I just started it in Power Apps. It was a activity that I did during COVID lockdown, but I can see the advantages of doing it in Logic Apps because it does use a HTTP connector, which is a premium feature in Power Automate.
Yeah, that's obviously the licensing impact is one. And then if you have an access on Azure subscription, then you can easily do this. But if you don't, then it's not that simple. And again, obviously, everything depends, and that's why there's so many consultants in the world, because everything depends from the customer cases. Does the customer allow their end users to have an Azure subscription or access there? Who's going to have access? Who's going to create anything in a Logic App? Or do we empower end users? And that's what Power Automate and the list formatting is doing really well. As a normal end user, you can build amazing stuff like this. So thank you, Leon, on that one for sure. So super cool demo, and a real world, super usable and valuable thing for a lot of the people who are living in London, because I think everybody is dependent on this transportation logic. So really cool stuff.
Thank you, Vesa.
Excellent. So let me go back on the slides. We only have a few minutes, so we're going to actually close up in here, but really, really cool demos today. So thank you for Kiran on the Microsoft Teams app template demo. That was the contact group lookup. Thank you, Kislay, related on the new Employee Onboarding Hub. And thank you, Leon, around that live London Underground line status. It's really cool to see these solutions and the thinking and methods, because everybody else can learn from each other's experiences based on what you're showing and your learnings as well. Now, we did have the Q&A ongoing all the time in the chat, as typically. Just to recap on the videos, video will be and recording will be available within 24 hours in the Microsoft 365 community YouTube channel. You can follow up on the Microsoft 365 Dev for the developer topics, or Microsoft 365 PnP has its own account as well. The next Microsoft 365 General Dev call is on November 12th, and the next SharePoint Framework community call is a week from now, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So week from now, this is the exception week when we did have a slightly weird timing for US-based people. We are back aligned in next week, which is really, really, really cool. And we do have a massive amount of multiple community calls. All of these are getting always recorded, so please choose which one you want to join live and have questions and a chat, and then you can easily follow up on the other ones out offline or follow up on the recording. But that closes up for today. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week and upcoming weekend. Get some rest. 2020 is interesting, so please prioritize always family, health, and work, and then hobbies after that as well. But have a great rest of the week. We'll be definitely in touch, and let's keep the feedback coming, keep the feedback coming, keep the feedback coming. But bye-bye, everybody.